Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Trish and today we are going to make over this old dresser. So this dresser is a family dresser. It's come back to us and it's in good nick on the inside, but the outside, as you can see, it's a bit scratched up and it's had a bit of wear and tear. So this actually belonged to my husband's parents years ago, and my son and daughter-in-law have had it for a little while and they no longer need it, so I thought I'd give it a makeover. It had a mirror with it, and I didn't really like the mirror, so I'll remove the mirror and the frame, and I also will remove the hardware. I'm not sure whether I'll use those handles or not. I may get some new ones. So first of all, I just gave it a clean with some warm soapy water, and it didn't actually need much because it wasn't dirty at all. And then I removed the old frame. So I kept the frame, put it aside, because I am undecided at this stage what colour paint I'm going to use. So I will put some test spots on that frame and see what suits. So my plan is to just sand down the top, restain it, varnish the top, and then on the sides and on the drawers I will paint. And on the drawers I'm going to put some wallpaper. So yeah, just take off the hardware now. They're quite, well, not corroded, but a little bit grubby, so I'm wondering what's underneath. If I polish them, will they come up brass or what? So we'll find out later. So then I just labelled each drawer so I knew where to put them back again. And I decided to use poly. Oh, I can hear the pig calling me. I'll just give him something to eat.
There you go.
He knows I'm in the garage, so he's making a bit of a racket. So I'll give him something to eat. That's Wilbur, by the way. With me. So yeah, poly stripper, paint stripper. This is the first time I've used it. I was really surprised how fast it worked, and I realise now that I didn't put enough on. I should have had it a lot thicker than that because it dried quite fast and I had to work really fast with it. You know, I'm talking like 30 seconds to a minute and it was already starting to set again. Probably because I had it on too thin, so you'll see it here. I'm trying to scrape it off and it's quite difficult to get it off. I had to end up doing it 2 or 3 times to get most of it off. So here we go, yeah. Quite satisfying though, scraping that off. I quite like that. And I gave it a bit of sand and I realised no, still needs more paint stripper on there. The more you can get off, the less sanding you're going to have to do in the end. So you can see there the patches, that's still quite thick there. So yeah, just did it again, as I said, 3 times, and then I just wiped it down with some mineral turpentine, and that got rid of any excess that was still hanging around, and it came up quite clean and tidy. So then it just needed a sand with a light sandpaper, a 200 grit sandpaper. I did have to get in there with a wet rag with terps on it just to get out those little bits in the creases. And then yeah, sanded it. I knew when I was sanding it at this stage that it was going to come up really nice. It had no deep gouges or scratches or dents or anything like that. It just had tiny surface scratches, so they all came out with the paint stripper. And I just scuffed the drawers so the wallpaper would stick to them well, and carried on, give it another sand. And there we have it, all ready for painting. Just wipe off all the dust, make sure there's no dust left. So this is the paint that I use. It's Karen Walker chalk paint. So the colours are shadowy blue, excuse me, and half smart blue. Those are the two colours that I decided on. So I thought I'd just put some on the wood and see which one I like. And this is the stain, the teak stain for the top. So I went ahead and stained the top first before I decided on the paint. So it goes well. So I know it goes well with that stained top. And then I just went in with a rag to make sure that stain got right into those creases. It's looking really nice. And then I just put a bit of stain on this old frame, and so I could paint either side of that and see which colour looks the best. That's looking really nice. It just needs some varnish now, polyurethane varnish, just a satin varnish. I don't want it glossy. So yeah, that one's a bit like duck egg, I suppose. And this one's supposed to be really dark blue. It had separated quite a bit and needed quite a bit mixing to get it right. And after I'd mixed it all up, I realised that it was actually quite light. It's a bright blue, and I don't want a bright blue. I want a deep blue, a dark blue. And as soon as I put it on the wood next to the stained base, I knew I wasn't happy with that. Really, I wanted it darker than that. So then tried the lighter one, totally different tone, and see what that looked like. And I knew straight after putting that on too, I wasn't happy with that either. I thought, what am I going to do? I've got to pick one, or do I go back to town and try another colour? So I got this Karen Walker chalk paint from Resines, and Resines can actually tint Karen Walker chalk paints for you. Not all colours, but some. So yeah, I'll go back and see what else I can get, I think. Although after waiting for a while for it to dry, I took it out in the sun to see, sometimes it dries darker. Still wasn't that happy with it. Put the handles next to it, thought, maybe it looks alright. I mean, some people might be happy with that colour. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments if you would have picked any of those two colours. So yeah, which one, this or that? So here's the wallpaper that I have. A friend of mine, Karen, gave it to me. Thanks, Karen, if you're watching this. This textured wallpaper, I decided to put that on the drawers. So I didn't have a ruler, so I found this big piece of wood in the garage and thought I'll just use that. And then my husband comes along and said, why are you using that piece of wood? Why don't you just use the level that's in the garage? And I thought, good thinking, 99, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So there, I finished with the level, just to make sure it was perfectly straight. And there we have it all set out ready for the gluing. I'm quite happy with that, the way it looks. And I even quite like it as it's white. Maybe I should have done the drawers white or cream. But I was dead set on having a bit of colour in my house. I've got a lot of cream already, so I really would like some colour. So I just used PVA wood glue through the back of the sheets of wallpaper and then glued the drawer. And popped it on there. sticks quite fast, like say 2 tacky sides, one on the wallpaper and one on the drawer. So you didn't have much time to actually move it around if it was a bit crooked, so you had to make sure that it was dead right when you put it on there. I just put a little bit of pressure on there and ready to go. So I did go back to town and I got this colour here. It's called Elephant. And that's it there. You can see it's darker, deeper. And the other colour I got is called Retro. And it's more of a teal, so a bit too bright. But I do like that, so I decided to go with that one. Time to add the primer. This is a sealer and stain blocker, shellac based, and that'll stop any colour coming through the wood. So I just went ahead and sprayed that. You can actually buy this in a tin as well. It works out quite expensive if you're buying cans, so I don't have a paint sprayer yet, but I think I will invest in that at some stage rather than the paint brushes. It does do a better finish. And here is the chalk paint, the Karen Walker chalk paint. It's been tinted. I usually just pour a little bit into a container to use. I actually bought a litre and I realise now that it was far too much. I didn't need a litre. Half a litre would have been ample. So I poured a bit in the jug and used that instead, and so the paint didn't dry out. Otherwise you end up with bits and dry bits throughout your paint if you're going to leave it exposed for too long. So just pour out what you need, put the lid back on and save that for another project. Also got this brush. It's a brush for doing chalk paint. It's supposed to be the bee's knees, so I thought I'd try that, but to be honest it was okay, but I quite prefer my normal paint brushes actually. They're very stiff. I don't know, what do you think? Have you used chalk paint brushes before? Are they your favourite, or would you prefer just your regular paintbrush? Because it was quite stiff and big, I ended up painting down the sides of the drawer too much and made a bit of a mess. So yeah, I wasn't happy with that. I should have just gone to the very edge and not over the side. Then I did the dresser. Apologies for the light, it's a bit dark in the garage. So there, they've had one coat there. And as you can see, I'll show you the drawers. So while that dress is drying, I taped the drawers just to tidy them up a bit. So put a nice straight line across there with some frog tape. And yeah, just so it's got a nice straight line. And I did that to all the drawers just to tidy them up. That looks a lot better, a lot smarter and tidier. So one more coat, and I actually gave the bottom of the dresser 3 coats. It needed it. I thought, and the legs, I thought that's where it's probably going to get knocked if it gets knocked, so just a little bit of extra paint there. And I just use my artist paintbrush, it's a lot easier. And now I polish the handles with some Brasso and some microfiber cloths. It came up a little bit shinier, you can see there. So I decided I will use these, but yeah, if I find some better handles, I may replace them. So I went ahead with the polyurethane varnish, and you just use a rag to put that on. It's a wipe-on one. And as soon as you put it on, it looks so much nicer. And then I gave the drawers and the dresser a coat of wax to seal in that paint. I used this brush. It's a proper brush for waxing furniture. Yeah, it was good. It got into all the nooks and crannies of the wallpaper, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you have to use a brush. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can just use a rag, a cloth, a clean cloth of some sort. Straight away the paint looked a lot deeper and richer after putting that wax on there, and then I just popped all the handles back on. It's a little bit tight getting them in because the holes that I had in the wallpaper weren't as big as the holes in the drawer, but that was okay. I just push them in there, get them in there, and it does look good. I was a bit concerned about whether I had the handles up the right way. You see here, should they be the other way? I had a look at the before photo of the dresser and they were that way, so I'm assuming that's what they're supposed to look like. You could probably do either or. And the rest of the drawers, yeah, I just went ahead with a rag and used a rag, and clean cloth I mean, and polished all those up with the wax. Then the drawers, the dresser I mean. And there it is, finished. I gave it 2 coats of the polyurethane varnish on top and just waxed the paint. And I'm happy with that. I think it looks really nice. Adds a bit of colour into my home. And the family piece will stay in the family. It's a reminder what it looked like before and after. Thanks for watching. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more creation.